Welcome back once again to our favorite channel, Dynamic Thinker. Today we come your way with Lance Sabine, and we are going to look at how to correct local attraction. So, going straight to the point, local attraction with this form of questions, they are very easy to come by and you can score enough marks and you meet such questions in your exams. So, looking at our lines, we have A, B, B, C, C, D, and D, A. This shows a close traverse. This shows a close traverse, and the reason why we are calling it a close traverse is because we started from the point A and we are ending at the point A, and hence it's a close traverse. So it looks like starting from here, going to B, going to C, then to D, and back to A. So it becomes a close traverse. I hope you all get it. Good. So moving to it, let's look at how to do with the corrections. Now, these are forward bearings and back bearings, and with back bearings, the difference is supposed to be 180 degrees, and hence when you cause a subtraction and it exceeds 180 degrees, then it means that there would have been a local attraction, or let's say an observational error, and hence we are going to put those corrections here. Then we correct them either to the back bearing or the forward bearing based on where the need arises. So moving straight to the point, let's look at the first one. Moving from point A to point B, we had from A, we cited a bearing of 55 degrees 30 minutes, and at point B we cited 235 degrees 30 minutes. So please, this is minutes, okay. And on your calculator, on your calculator you press the number, then you look for where you have the letter B. So you have your calculus. So with the calculator, the minute and the degree come from the side where you have the B. So when you press 12 degrees and you press maybe 2, then you repress that place again, you have the minute. So that's how you get it from the calculator. So moving to it, we are going to solve this. And when we subtract the back bearing from the forward bearing, so here we have 235 degrees 30 minutes being subtracted from 55 degrees, another 30 minutes. So with our subtraction, we see 0 minus 0, 0, 0, 5 minus 5, 0. We borrow 1 to this side, and hence it gives us 30. 30 minus 5 gives us 8. And that gives us 180, meaning that no correction is needed from the sighting point of A to the point B. That shows that there was no local attraction at this very station. So we keep 0 here, and we write our corrected forward bearing, which is 55 degrees 30 minutes, and again 235 degrees 30 minutes. Okay, moving on to the station B. Now we are standing at station B, sighting to station C. So it's the sighting. Moving on, we are now going to the point B, or the station B. So we are now going to stand at station B to sight to station D, to station C, sorry. Now with this, we saw that there was no error from station A and station B, and hence there will be no error at station B. And hence if there should be a correction, we are going to correct it from station C. That's the point where we went to C to sight back or to sight on. I hope you all get to the concept. Good. So here we have our forward bearing. That's where we stood at station B, sighting at station C to be 164. And our back bearing, that's standing at station C to sight back at station B to be 384. So now we are going to do the subtraction again. So our normal algebra, mathematics, addition and subtraction, arithmetic check. So 348 degrees 00 minutes, giving us 164 degrees, still 00 minutes. Our minutes becomes 00. Our degree symbol. This minus this gives us 4. We borrow 1 to this side, and we have 8, and the number left is 1. Now this is greater than 180, and hence a correction of 4. That's but we have to subtract 4 from this to give us 180. Hence 180 degrees, and hence our correction here becomes -4. Now, with what I told you earlier, I told you we stood at B to sight back at A, and there was no error, and hence sighting at the point C, we saw that standing at C, sighting back at B, that's where the error might occur, because we stood at B and sighted back at A, there was nothing, and hence we should note that the error is coming from the point C. So therefore, we attach the correction to the back bearing. So we subtracting 4 from 348 gives us 344 degrees. So with this, we go back. Coming back to our table, we have this to be a corrected back bearing. So we write that at that question 4 degrees 00 minutes, and rewrite our forward bearing as a corrected back bearing 164 degrees. And when we subtract this, we are going to get 180. So 164 minus 0. We borrow 1 to this side, and this becomes how many? 14. 14 minus 6 gives us 8, and this gives us 1. So we have our 180 degrees back once again. Now we are moving to our next station, which is our station C. So now we saw that there was an error at station C, and hence -4 is pending there. I hope you all get it. So since -4 is pending there, automatically you have to bear in mind that you have -4 error standing there. Now we are sighting back at D. So sighting forward to D, we have our value to be 298, and our value at A. Sighting. You guys have fun with it. Okay, now moving on to C, we are starting at C to sight at D. Now we saw that an error occurred at the point C, which was -4, so you have to bear in mind that there is an error of -4 at the point C, and hence -4 will have effect on each of the various sides. So let's take into consideration our normal subtractions, and let's see what we are going to find. So here we have our back bearing to be 298, and our forward bearing to be 116. When we subtract, we have 2 here, we have 8 here, and we have 1, meaning that there is also an error of 2. Now this error of 2 is coming from the point D, but already since we are standing at B, sighting back at C, the error of -4 also affects the point D, and hence together -4 minus 2 gives us -6. Hence our correction here is supposed to be -6. But remember, we said at the point C there was an error of -4. Hence we subtract 4 from this side, we subtract -6 from this side. So we have 112 degrees, whilst we have 292 degrees. Now let's see. The reason why we subtracted 4 from this side is because the error was at the point C. And the reason why we took 6 instead of 2 was because we stood at D to sight at C. There is an error of -4 at C, and there was no error at A, and hence the corrections needed here will be done at the point D. Now at the point D, we saw that we took a subtraction of -6. So that same -6 affects the forward bearing. So subtracting -6, we have our correction here to be 0, since we are ending it and there was no error at A. But our error, which is -6, was coming from the point D. So D, which is the forward bearing here, is supposed to become 274, and the point at A, looking back at D, still becomes 94. Please remember to bring the degree symbols, they have great importance. Pacing. We are going to look at pacing. Formerly, we didn't have measuring tapes to take our measurements, so we were walking across the stands to take our measurements, and we were also scanning to take measurements. So pacing can be defined as, or pacing can be considered. Pacing is considered as one or more steps of an individual across a distance. So when you walk from your house to another man's house, you can count your steps, and that becomes your pace. Good. Now let's note that the height of an individual does not affect spacing. The height of an individual does not affect spacing, and pacing varies from one person to another person. Good. So let's look at some factors that affect spacing. Earlier, I've made you known to it that the height of an individual does not affect spacing. So note that factors affecting spacing. Factors affecting spacing. Now, one important factor is the topography. Topography of the land. The next important factor is the ground condition. So when you go to an environment where the place is very muddy, your walking style changes. Now again, note this. I know he gave you this very too, but note this one too. It's very, very important. Presence of streams. When a stream is in front of you, you can't pace across. You have to rather jump or do something else. And again, presence of rivers. So you can just write this and you have all your marks. That's it for factors affecting pacing.